become a fabulous dinner. And I'm going to show you how you do that with all of the goodies that I have lined up here. I'm doing a very classic French dish called Coq Au Vin. Coq Au Vin is traditionally made, slow cooked in a Dutch oven, and it takes forever and ever, amen, to make. We're doing a skillet version of it. We're not using whole cut up chicken, we're using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And the whole process is going to give you the same succulent, delicious flavor as if you were doing it the old-fashioned hard way, a la Julia Child. No offense, Julia, but I like this way better. It's a lot easier. Anyway, so we are going to be using chicken thighs, as you can see right here. We have onion, of course, lots of mushrooms. We have bacon. Who said bacon? We also have right here, you can see these lovelies. Those are little frozen pearl onions. I got a little better than bouillon because I always find that just adds just that little bit of touch to the flavor component and an extra layer of flavor. Red wine, garlic, a little tomato paste, another onion, some bone broth, and the only other thing we'll need is butter, which I don't have out, but we need butter.
Got the ghee?
I need butter. Yeah. So I'm going to use the ghee to start to get everything started on this because we're going to start sauteing up some things really quick. Now the whole idea with this whole thing, and I also need a clean plate for the chicken for when I didn't pull that out either. So the whole idea with this is that you start with many layers. I like to start with onions and the mushrooms first and the bacon. You can add them all in together and let them cook. Okay, it's super easy to do. Well, let's get those onions in first. Onions. Perfect, thank you. Onions and mushrooms. And I'm going to use these two bowls afterwards. And as soon as this kind of shrinks down a little bit, you understand about mushrooms, they throw liquid, that's what they say, it throws its liquid. We don't mind, we're just going to let them do their thing. And the same with the onions. The onions we want to get from a solid white opaque state, the way they are when they're raw, to a clear and translucent state. We're not going to get them all the way to being caramelized because they're going to be doing some more cooking. But you'll see. There's a question?
Was that a dry skillet?
No, I had ghee in the skillet. Okay, now, one thing to remember too, that if you are putting in your salt and pepper at the end, you've missed your opportunity. Salt and pepper should be layered as you cook. And that's something that I learned much later on. So I use a salt cellar because I can tell with a clean hand, of course, how much salt I'm putting in. You don't need to measure as much as you need to understand the art of the sprinkle. So just pinch your salt and make sure that it goes all over the place. This salt that I'm using, I usually use a pink Himalayan. This is a Celtic salt that I have. And I just happen to have it, we're out of pink Himalayan. And then black pepper, always fresh ground. Remember, there's essential oils in that pepper, and when it's in a can, it's flat, and it doesn't have nearly the robustness that a regular, fresh ground pepper would have. And you can see here that things are starting to come along nicely. We're not wanting to cook this all the way. What we're trying to do is just get these mushrooms to lose their liquid quickly and start cooking up. And we want translucent onions. So that's going to be happening here in just half a second. Meanwhile, while this is cooking, I have, of course, my big vat of bone broth. You can see it's nice and gelatinous, which is fabulous. I'm going to put that, move the oil canister up there. In a minute, I'm going to add this bacon, but not just yet. But while I'm waiting, I've got in here about a half a cup of flour or arrowroot. You can use either one, same proportion. And what we're looking to do here is this is going to add we're just going to shake up the chicken and get it dredged lightly in flour. And the reason we're going to do this is because it adds a nice crispness to the outside of the chicken when you're cooking it up. It also helps to thicken up the sauce. So that's those are the reasons why you want to do that. We're almost there. You can see as mushrooms are throwing their liquid, all of a sudden this has gotten really juicy in the pan. But you just give it another minute, it will be done, and then this will all be cooked. And at that point, I'm going to offload it into one of my bowls. Now, I can use easily, no big deal, I'll use either the onion bowl or the mushroom bowl, easy to use because that's safe to do. I will not use, however, the bacon bowl. Once I take the bacon out and put it into the pan, this becomes dirty, and if I cook stuff in it, I've cross-contaminated. Did you have a question? Is there a question? Okay. All right, so that's about ready to go. This is almost done, close. And so while I'm doing that, I'm going to take my chicken and get that in here. Got all my cooking utensils here, so it's a little bit awkward. Okay, so chicken goes in, and you're going to want to do like 3 thighs at a time. You don't want to do any more than that. Doing any more than that is going to crowd the chicken, and it's not going to evenly distribute. I will get all the chicken eventually into the pan when we get it cooked, but right now we don't want to do that. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Now, if I were cooking this at home without the benefit of Facebook Live, I'd probably let this go another couple of minutes. But for the sake of getting this done and getting this so you can see what the finished product's going to look like, I'm going to go ahead and pull it now. And you can see right there that we've got translucent onions. We have mushrooms, not cooked all the way to brown, but that's okay, because again, they're going to be simmering, and they're sitting now waiting their turn. In the meantime, bacon is my friend, and in it goes into the pan. Question?
How much mushroom and onion?
Okay, so we had one medium-sized onion, and I'm going to say we used portobello mushrooms because that's what we had. They were real big ones, so we had about 5 of those. So the thing that I want you to realize is that, you know, oftentimes it's always dependent on what you have on hand. And if I had had only like 3 mushrooms, I'd still make this. It'd just be not as mushroom-y.
It's probably 10 or 12 ounces.
10 to 12 ounces? Okay. We'll go with that. And got this. We're going to let that brown up, of course. In the meantime, let's toss this around a little bit. And we're going to pull it out when it's time to enter it into the pan, but we're going to let this bacon cook first. Now, one thing I could do is do the bacon and the onion and the mushroom all together. The only problem is once I had all the onion and mushrooms in there, there wasn't enough room for this. If you overcrowd a pan, you'll have a steaming situation instead of a sautéing situation. It's really important. It needs room to cook. So that's why I'm doing it like this. It's just a layering. Another question?
She missed this probably. Would you use arrowroot instead of flour if you're on a low-carb diet as a diabetic?
Yep. You can use arrowroot. You're using the same amount, but understand that most of it's going to be discarded anyway, and that when you're dredging something or you're shaking it in the bag, however you're doing it, you don't want it to be too heavily coated. You're just trying to put a slight coating on it. You can even do it without that, to be honest. But I like it with a little bit, just simply because, again, it adds to the texture component on the chicken, and it also helps you to thicken the sauce. Okay, so I'm going to use my onion bowl here for the bacon, which is pretty much cooked all the way through. And remember, everything's going to go back into the pan, and it's going to be simmered at the very end. So there's more to come on this. There you go, my friends. Lovely. Okay. Let's hear. Oh. Let's hear it for the bacon. All right, bacon's done. Now, to this pan, I am going to add that chicken. And probably add just a tad of more ghee. Now, I use ghee and butter interchangeably, but I like ghee the best because ghee has a very high smoke point. So I can saute to my little heart's content without burning the butter. So this is has all the butter solids removed. That's why I use that. Okay, let's get the chicken out. So you go in there and pull a piece of chicken, give it a shake. Let's get this thing. There we go. Give it a shake. Oh, thanks for being so helpful. There we go. Give it a shake. There's another one.
You have people coming in late wondering, what are you making?
I'm making Coq Au Vin. It is in the description on the top. Coq Au Vin is a red wine sauce, kind of a chicken with mushrooms, bacon, a little bit of tomato paste, and red wine, of course, and yeah, all together in a skillet. Pretty friendly and delicious. Okay, so we want that cooking super. We want to get that really high and hot, and we'll take the rest of this, put it in. Wow, some of these thighs are just gigantic. Nothing else to waste around here. So just so you know, every day at 4 o'clock we do a cooking lesson of some sort. And our whole idea of the cooking lesson is to do with what you have. We also have, obviously, we're a cooking site, we also have extensive recipes. Our recipes are in our program called Dinner Answers, which gives you menus, recipes, and shopping lists every single week. And you can subscribe to that for just $7 a month. And when you're doing that, know that you're supporting a small women-owned business. We've been in business almost 20 years, and we want to keep staying in business. So when you help us out, we turn around and help you right back out and help you get dinner on the table every single week, regardless of how you eat. Now, you see what I just did? I overcrowded the skillet. That's just not going to work. We're going to have to do that on, yeah, I guess what we're going to have to do
Take the other one out.
What?
Take the other one out.
No. Don't tell me what to do. Okay. We're just turning it a little prematurely. But we want this to get nice and golden brown, okay? Golden brown is our friend. This is what makes the world go around.
How high is your heat?
The heat, I've got the heat all the way up to a nice high, hot temperature. Now, I'm going to just explain a little bit between cooking when you're sauteing versus when you're just, cooking in the skillet. All of this is, and I'm going to put this lid on because I'm yelling over the top of this cooking chicken. All of this is super dependent on your stovetop. If you have an electric stovetop, it's going to cook a whole lot different and a whole lot hotter than a gas grill is, or a gas stovetop is. And you have to be able to adjust as you go. Just watch. If your fat that you're cooking in, the oil or the butter or whatever, or the ghee that you're cooking in, starts to smoke, you know you've gone past the point of where you want to go. At that point, the fat has turned into a trans fat. As nice as that might be, it has turned into a trans fat. What are you doing?
Toss it in the trash.
Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on here. The behind the scenes stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So you always want to make sure that you have a nice hot pan, because when you're sauteing, sauteing means in French to jump. So you want very hot fat, and then when you put your food in there, you want really big sizzle. You can even test it by taking water and putting a little water drop from your hand in there, and it should bounce across the pan. That's when you know you've got it correct. Too hot is too hot, and then too low is just going to kind of stew the things up. So we want to get a nice heat going on this, just for all the sauteing that we did. And you can see I've done it in many different layers. Doesn't that look good? So when this is browned, now I'm going to do this again. This is made for TV. This is made for TV. We're not going to do this exactly the same way that I would do it if I were home. Now this I would do about 10 minutes of cooking these chicken thighs, 5 minutes on each side for a really good golden brown. And then even still, it's not going to be cooked all the way through. Now you can use chicken thighs, you can use chicken breasts, you can even use chicken legs, you can even use chicken with the bone in. But this is just a quick and dirty way of doing it and just making a very quick meal. You know how people are, they just don't like those bones. There we go, and we're going to give it another quick piece. There we go. That's nice and brown. Oh, there we go. Much better. Come on, my friend. Work with me. Turn it. Don't burn it. Another one. Oh my gosh, this one's not going to cooperate. Don't be like that. Be friendly. Okay, so that's pretty much, that part is pretty much done over here. I'm going to pull the chicken, and I'm putting it on a clean plate. Even though this chicken isn't cooked all the way, it has begun the cooking process. To put it on a raw chicken plate is cross-contamination. You don't want to do that. Like I said, I would go at least 10 minutes, 5 minutes aside, on as high a heat as you can without burning it, getting it nice and brown. Okay? Lots of chicken here. And yes, I will be using that other chicken piece, but I'm just going to cook that up separately another time. Not right now. Okay, now we're going to deal with the pan. Into the pan. These cute little onions. And that's just going to be half a second, because I just want to roll them around, get them used to the idea that they're no longer on their own. They're going to be joining their other friends here shortly, like right now. Okay. And now, for my next trick, you see how this is just kind of a layering process. We're going to grab some bone broth. That's the first thing. Bone broth into the pan. 1. I'm going to do 3 ladlesfuls. 3 ladlesful is, I'm going to say this is a half cup, so this is going to be probably a, that's not a half a cup. What do you say? That's about a third of a cup. I'm going to say that was about a cup that went in there. Put that over there. This is your friend too, because remember how I had all that chicken on the bottom of the pan? Well, there's a little bit of fond on the bottom. Fond is that brown stuff that gets on the bottom of the pan. With or without flour, it will have that same effect. And we want to get that up. Now, you can see that this has, there we go. There we go. I've gotten it all up. You just go along the bottom of the pan and you can feel it coming up as you use your wire whisk. Hey, look at that. Now, to this, I'm going to give this half a second. And while we're doing this, so I'm just going to explain what I have here. What I have here is called mise en place. Mise en place is everything that I need in order to create the recipe. And you can see how easy it is that I'm not bouncing all around the kitchen. Well, when you set everything up for when you are cooking, you can do the very same thing. That doesn't mean that you have to put things out in cute little bowls or anything like that. It does mean that you need every implement that you're going to use, the chopping board that you're going to be using, the knife, even down to your oven mitts and a cloth for your hands. And usually I have a garbage bowl when I'm doing like chopping an onion and stuff, so that I don't have to move all over the place. It makes cooking so much more enjoyable, because then you're not running all over the place like a chicken with your head cut off. So this has come to a boil. Now I'm going to add the red wine. This is a whole cup of red wine. This is Cabernet Sauvignon from a black box. Mark's crying. That's all right, love. You poured a little some on the side for you for tonight, for dinner. And this is going to also come to a boil, okay? And we're just going to give it a minute to do that right now. I'm done with the bone broth, so I'm going to push that here. So when I mise en place and I put everything out, I also, as I'm cooking and I'm done with things, I push things back. So I'll push all of the stuff that goes to the refrigerator, for example, over here. I will take all of my implements, put them on a that I have used for cooking, put them on a cutting board and take it over to the sink, and then all of my cupboard stuff is going to be left out here, and it just gets put away like that. So you mise en place and set up, put all the things out that you need, all the food that you need, everything, salt, pepper, oven mitts, the whole 9 yards. Then you deactivate and you take everything that you've just used and you put like with like. If it goes in the refrigerator, push it together and put it into the refrigerator. See, look at that. I just did it. So at this point, we are going to want to add a little bit of flavor components to the sauce. This is where I pull in my Better Than Bouillon. It's also where I pull in, right behind me, missed it, a tiny cutting board. And you put in about a tablespoon of tomato sauce. Now I get these tomato paste. I get this tomato paste at Trader Joe's, but you can find it anywhere nowadays. I've seen it in the grocery store. That's about a cup. That's about a tablespoon. What are you laughing at? It's not funny. It's tomato paste. So that's going to go into the trash when it's done. And if I had a garbage bowl, I would have just thrown that right into the garbage bowl with it, but I didn't have one because I didn't need it. Now I'm just going to add that in. There we go. Oh, it looks beautiful already. And to that, I'm going to add just a little Better Than Bouillon, because it always adds just the right amount. And that's probably about a teaspoon and a half. And do you like my little tiny whisk? Everybody wants my little tiny whisk when they see it. There you go. That's going to come to another boil. Let's give it another minute to come to a boil. And you can see this is going into my refrigerated section. This is not. This is going to go back into the cupboard. I don't know what I did at the top to the bone broth, but whatever. Okay. Alrighty. Next trick. I've got my garlic right here, and that has come to a boil again. So I'm going to take all of this garlic. I've got 4 massive cloves of garlic, because we want to keep the vampires away. And remember too, garlic is one of those things that if you cook it too much and it browns, it will get really bitter. You don't want it to ever brown. It's not your friend at that point. And I can use this. Get the garlic out. So you want to make sure that you just, you never do that. You can saute, certainly you can saute it, but you've got to bring the temperature down a whole lot. And garlic and onion together, even though you'll see recipes with them, and you'll even see my recipes with them, I have found over the years that it's just better to do it this way, because then the garlic gets appreciated and doesn't get destroyed. All right, you can, oh yeah, that smells really good. The last thing that you're going to do to add to this is some people add cream, but butter basically is cream. So I've got a clean knife here, and I'm going to add about, okay, what is that? That's about 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of butter. Julia would be so pleased. What?
2.
There you go. And you wonder why I gave you so much grief when you were doing that. Ladies, give him grief.
I don't give you
Ladies,
near enough as you need.
oh, goodness. Now we're crazy. They're going to start talking about you more. Okay, so the butter goes in, and just remember that butter and cream are essentially the same thing. I always use unsalted butter when I cook because I want to be in control of the salt. And I think unsalted butter has a lot better flavor. There you go. And see, you can see how this has gone from being a sauce that has been somewhat, what's the word I want to look for? Just kind of liquidy to now it's super velvety. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And guess what I'm going to do now? You knew it, didn't you? You knew it. I am going to add all of this yum yum back in. And now I'm going to add that chicken back in. One lovely piece at a time. Come on, my friends. Oh, it's scary. Here we go. And see, as you add things in, just remember, always as you're adding things in, back in, your temperature, it's going to go from simmering to just nothingness. But that's okay. And I'll add that little bit of chicken broth juice that this had left, because that's just going to cook right in too, even though it's not quite as cooked as I had wanted. And to this, guess what's next? Bacon! Yay! Bacon and onion. Okay. And the thing you want to do here, this is where you're going to start like dunking all these guys in. And the juice is going to come up. You want everything in there simmering and cooking, because the onions aren't cooked. They're frozen onions, so they're not cooked all the way through. Bacon needs a little bit more help. And of course, when you're doing this, you're going to be able to cook things just a little more thoroughly than I did. You're not going to probably be doing this for Facebook Live. Just a guess. Okay. And at that point, the lid goes on and the temperature goes down because we're going to simmer. There's a big difference between boiling and simmering. Simmering is a controlled low boil. And while the temperature is pretty much the same, it keeps the evaporation level down. It also gently helps keeps the meat tender. If you're doing things on a really hard boil with something like this, it'll get the meat tough. So that's why we do it this way. So anyway, in 20 minutes, this will be ready. But you can always test it. Now, chicken thighs, of course, are going to be cooked, probably take a little bit longer because it's dark meat than, say, the chicken breast. But again, it depends on the size, it depends if you have bone in, it depends on a lot of things. You just need to test it, take it, a little knife, take a little peek-see, and make sure that it's cooked all the way through. Yes?
Her husband doesn't like dark meat. Can you substitute white?
Yes. You can do whatever you want with this. This is an extraordinarily flexible meal. You don't even have to have bacon. If you didn't have bacon in the house, don't go out and shop for bacon. You can still do it just like this. The bacon just adds another layer of flavor, which always adds to the overall taste of something when you're able to add all these different types of flavors. But chicken thighs, chicken legs, chicken with bones in them, whatever you have, you can add it. You can do a cut. I mean, the classic way is a cut up chicken to make Coq Au Vin. I just did it with chicken thighs because I'm showing you an easy skillet way of doing this and not the long form way. But that's it. That's all you have to do, and then just leave alone and let it do its thing on your stovetop, And in 20 minutes, you've got a delicious meal that you'll want to serve with a nice bottle of red wine. And mashed potatoes would be good with this. Make sure you get your green in. I would do asparagus and a nice big green salad with this as well. So please share this, and also we'd love it if you became a Dinner Answers member. When you do, it's $7 a month. You will have that rate forever, and every Tuesday we send you a new menu, and you get the choice of any kind of menu that you want. All of them are there. You can pick and choose. You can create it custom, and you have access to our database with thousands and thousands of recipes. Our whole goal is to bring families back to the dinner table. How you eat, that's your business. I'm in the business of making food great. So I hope you join us at $7 a month. You can find out about it at savingdinner.com. In the meantime, I'll be back tomorrow. Who knows what I'll be cooking? Peace. I appreciate you all. Thanks for joining me today, and share this video. That looks pretty good, doesn't it?
I'm ready.
I'm hungry too.